Well, it's the first opening serve of this Thursday afternoon here on NCAA.com, and we are underway here in the East Regional. This one's up top, this time for Schneid. And, of course, Henwood, the glue of this New Haven program. Schneid battle at the net, and New Haven on the board first.
Easy defensive pickup for the Chargers on that ball. The ball was out of system. Ball set a little bit too far off the net, so Mercy could not get a good swing at it, and an easy transition opportunity for the Chargers.
And for Michelle Henwood, a little too long on that one, and we know how good she is. She came from St. A's as a transfer, was named Setter of the Year this year here in the NE10. Joe, this is a lopsided historical matchup. New Haven leads Mercy since 1987, 25-7. This is the 33rd all-time meeting between these two programs as Grace Juergens goes right into the net.
Yeah, ball passed off the net, just trying to get a good swing on it. It was about 20 feet off. Sometimes it's maybe easier to just send it over free to keep your team in the game. Again, little nerves early in the beginning of this match, obviously, and it's also a little bit early. We're not used to playing so early in the day.
Noon here on the East Coast, and if you're watching from anywhere around the world, cannot thank you enough, as Johnson able to get her first kill of the afternoon.
Perfect pass by the libero. Jesse set up that play, but just right on the net, and she was 25 feet off, shifting backwards. Beautiful pass.
Ladder official Kristen Bosnek. Ed Moore on the scorer's side. Tim Stewart is the line judge alongside Laura Garbarino. That time was Vizcaino. Henwood, Jesse over to Juergens on the outside. Nice dig out there by Schneid up top. That time for Rivera. Henwood to the lefty mast. And ricochets off of a Mercy Maverick in New Haven in front for the first time this afternoon.
Henwood with a really deceptive set in that play. The ball completely on the left side of the court. Everyone probably thought, okay, she'll just go to the outside. Nope. Whips it behind her, and a wide open swing there for the right side player.
Off the top of the tape there from Brown. Henwood upstairs for Juergens, rather, and goes just wide. Tied up at 3.
Henwood's a very deceptive setter. You really have a hard time reading where she's going. Like, I was kind of isolating on her during that play. Looked like she was going to go back on that ball as well, ends up pushing it to the outside. So that makes life really, really difficult for the Mercy defenders, because we always talk about in coaching strategy about reading the setter, reading where she's hitting. She's really tough to read.
Her former head coach in Braden Zamor, Joe, who is the head coach at Southern New Hampshire now. He took that job this past offseason. We got a chance to ask him his thoughts about his former setter, and said that really, by rights, the last couple of seasons, she should have been named Setter of the Year when she was with me. So I didn't want to, get into the politics of the conference and those all-conference awards, but she is the glue of this New Haven program. And also said, too, he doesn't really know if they would have had all of that success if it wasn't for her on a play like this. Upstairs this time for Schneid, and the block on the right side goes awry. Henwood over to the lefty mast, and Schneid able to get a point. It's the block party for the Mavericks to start things off.
Really good rally, both teams. You thought New Haven had made a great play earlier in the rally, thought it was going to terminate, and Mercy not giving up, fighting back with a beautiful block on the right side attack. You got to finish the point where you're saying about this. Like, setters really, kind of run the offense. So, great setters make good hitters great hitters. And, good setters make average hitters well more than average hitters. So a good setter really is, kind of crucial to keep your offense going.
That was Gonzalez, and now Vizcaino. Up top again from Gonzalez, and Jesse could not get there on the dive. Mercy in front once again, 5-4. Joe, you look at both of these programs. New Haven comes in as the number 2 seed in the region. Mercy comes in the number 7 seed. Both of these programs, they hold their respective conference player of the year as well as setter of the year. And we take a peek there at Reynolds Martin, who goes into the back row and knocks this up at 5.
Yeah, another good pass into the middle. And, part of any team's strategy is anytime you get a good pass, you want to try to run your middle because most of the time it's only one blocker up. But yeah, this, as you were kind of mentioning, both setters of the year and both players of the year, haven't seen that too often from two different conferences having both players of the year on either side of the net. So really makes for an interesting battle.
Henwood upstairs to Juergens, and contact with the antenna gives Mercy another lead, and back and forth we go.
Yeah, Mercy doing a good job hanging around. One of the things that you're going to see, obviously, from a strategy standpoint, New Haven's going to probably try to go outside every time you see Gonzalez in the front row for Mercy because she's just unfortunately undersized. So that's probably why you're going to see New Haven force the ball to the outside because they want to try to hit over the smaller setter. So that's one of the things that Mercy does have to take into consideration every rotation. And you can see right now she's not even blocking. She's just hanging out right behind the block.
And you see right there, Joe, that was Peyton Mass, the lefty. She gets credit for the point. Looked like it was going way long. But Mercy got a tip on that one. So again, we go. Tie score, 6 apiece.
Yeah, sometimes if the ball is set a little bit too low, you can't swing it directly to the ground. Sometimes you're actually trying to aim for the hands to keep the ball alive.
And it looked like a bad set there, or rather a net violation, if you will.
Yeah, ball just passed a little bit too tight for Gonzalez, and her momentum carried her into the net.
We'll definitely be talking about exactly what you had said later on during the day, of course. One of the coaches, we won't tell you who yet, since, want you to come back and listen to a couple of the stories that we got a chance to talk with 7 of the 8 head coaches, Joe, and one of the coaches said exactly what you had just said is that one went just along the back row and away from Juergens. But again, you speak about the way that the ball goes higher, a little bit lower, and some of the hitters, they might not be used to that or, so we'll see what goes down throughout. And again, that 13 or 12-day layoff for some of these programs, we'll see how rusty they are.
Gonzalez with a really heads-up play in that previous play, just going over on one, catching the entire New Haven team a little bit too close to the net.
Henwood upstairs for Reynolds Martin and goes just wide. Mercy in front again, 8-7.
Yeah, running that back one set with the one-legged takeoff and just turned it a little bit too wide. Sometimes it's so hard as an attacker to get your body squared towards the court. You can see her shoulders were just squared outside the court. That's probably why she hit it a little bit long.
Jesse digs that one out. That time it's Brown. Gonzalez upstairs for Pomerleau. And Mercy with its largest lead of 2 points here in the first set.
Pomerleau with a just rip from the middle, setting her a little bit higher, but it doesn't matter. New Haven was on it, but just unfortunately could not make the play. But just a really nice connection with your setter in the middle right now and on the Mercy side.
Henwood with the dump. Mercy was not fooled. On the other side, that time Rivera. And looks like it may have been tipped again. Let's see what you got here.
They're going to call a net violation actually on New Haven on that one. The ball was long, but the net takes precedence, so give another point to Mercy. Big break there.
Henwood upstairs to Reynolds Martin and falls right along that back row. What a hit, Joe.
Yeah, really good set. Nice connection. Perfect pass. Always got to make sure you get that perfect pass. And they like to run that action behind the setter in this rotation. Twice now we've seen it. This time it connects and a good swing right into that seam between the middle back defender and the left back defender.
5 attack errors for New Haven through the first 18 points of this match. Upstairs that time, Rivera, and Juergens could not get there in time.
Big rip by Rivera on the outside, and another good set for Gonzalez. She's got really nice hands, delivers a really good ball to her hitters, and makes life easy as a hitter when you get sets that good.
Mercy in front, 11-8, here in the first match of 4 today, here in the NCAA East Regional. Juergens upstairs that time to Brown, and her number counterpart in Aiza Cruz could not handle.
Yeah, big swing from Brown on the outside, and you love having that type of outside hitter that can terminate when you're out of system like that. That ball was set from 20 feet off the net, and she was able to gather herself and take a real good rip at it.
Gonzalez that time sets up Pomerleau, and again attacking Juergens, could not get there in time. Mercy in front by 3.
Yeah, really good connection again in the middle with the Gonzalez and Pomerleau coming through. And New Haven, at that time, she actually swung towards the middle of the court. And that's another great thing as a middle. You don't want to just keep hitting the same shots, same spots on the floor over and over again. And that time she mixed it up, and that's why she was able to be successful.
So the libero, Aitza Cruz. Upstairs, Henwood to Brown. Jesse kept it alive. Brown again. Nice dig out there by Gonzalez. Upstairs, that time for Schneid. And Jesse couldn't get there. Mercy in front by its largest lead of the afternoon at 4.
Yeah, beautiful dig by Gonzalez right down the line, right in her lap. Good out-of-system set, and Schneid didn't look like she crushed it, but just was very smart with where she put the ball and was able to get a kill out of it.
Taking a peek now after this timeout taken by New Haven. Let's take a peek now at Anna Todorovic and what she had come in as a men's volleyball head coach, Joe, at CCNY in Division III in the CUNYAC ranking. We got a chance to talk to her, and, we asked her about the transition between Division III and Division II, and something that she said was, it's not even so much the division. She said it's the gender. We have to go completely now. We're going from men to the women's side, and, she said that she was coaching the men's team for 7 years, and she said that she's a former pro. She said to her, really on any level, she could be thrown in there, no problem, and throw her into the fire. She'll be able to figure things out. She said the one thing that she really had to, get, I guess, back in rhythm with was kind of the emotion and how the ladies really figure things out if things go wrong or if things go well. How do they sustain that momentum and all of the above? And here, through 2 seasons, she's done a fantastic job. You look at that record right now, 14-8, 7-5.
Yeah, really good job with this program. And as you kind of mentioned, the gender, that's definitely a huge thing. The way you're coaching the genders is completely different, not completely different, but definitely different enough that you have to take a different approach as a coach and how you're dealing with them. And she's done a really, really good job with this program. And, losing in the ECC semi to Malloy, but still, you want to continue to build. And with obviously a really strong record at 14-8 overall and 7-5 in the conference.
Well, they're up by 4 now. And Henwood sets up Brown. Little dump. Mercy was not fooled. Again in the middle that time was Illis Hare. And cannot get along the back row is Vizcaíno.
Really good placement by Brown on that tip. She went over the defender in front and just in front of the back defender. Perfect placement on where you want to go with those tips. Sometimes it's very easy to just tip straight ahead all the time. That time she did, but because she put more distance on it, that's why she was successful.
And it looks like a false start, if you will.
I think she actually served before the ref blew the whistle. Sometimes you get a little too excited.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was, because ladder official Kristen Bosnick told her to relax a little bit. Gonzalez upstairs, that time Rivera, and went off of the front hitters in Juergens. Back to a 4-point edge.
Yeah, good swing on the right side that time by Rivera, just going hard off of the hands. And again, as an attacker, you always have the advantage. So if you have the ball in front of you, you can see the block. And sometimes you're actually trying to hit it off the hands. It looked like she kind of did that right there at that time.
Really good crowd on hand here for a Thursday afternoon here inside the CRS as Johnson ricochets one off of Illis Hare.
Yeah, nice set into the middle. Again, that ball was passed 10, 11 feet off, and Henwood takes the risk and goes with the middle attack and is rewarded. So it's usually when the ball's passed that far off the net, you wouldn't force the middle, but Henwood, such an experienced setter, knows how to connect with her middle and gets rewarded with the kill.
Riley Jesse, that's her 43rd service error of the season. And now New Haven with a couple of, give or take, bonus points, if you will, for Mercy. Not only, as we said, Joe, early on, 5 attacking errors and 2 service errors now. That's 7 free points. But then you also look on the other side, and Schneid gives one right back.
Yeah, that's always one of the kickers of the game is how many points are you scoring for your team, but also how many points are you giving up. And yeah, as you mentioned, free points, attacks out of bounds and missed serves are usually 2 that kind of ends up, kind of dictating sometimes how your team is playing.
Upstairs for Juergens on the outside. That time, Vizcaíno again. Henwood sets up Juergens. Gonzalez, and again to Vizcaíno. And Jesse could not get there in time. They're going after the libero.
Yeah, but that time they went a little bit away from her. They're trying to attack the seam in between the libero and whoever's playing in zone 6. And that's where the block is supposed to take away. But because that ball was kind of passed off the net, the set was a little bit different. The attack was a little bit different. The block wasn't really able to be effective. But finding soft spots in the defense, it's always one of the keys as an attacker.
Henwood sets up. Reynolds Martin, talk about a solid termination just in front of that Mercy bench.
Yeah, Henwood with just a phenomenal set on that ball that was passed really tightly, and she does a pirouette, keeps herself out of the net, and delivers a perfect ball for an easy kill.
Up top, that time Vizcaíno. Henwood to Brown. Nice dig out there. Once again by Cruz, and they went after that back row again, and Jesse just so happened to be there, couldn't get it. And now a 4-point advantage again for Mercy.
That was Schneid out of the back row. Hadn't seen that so far in this set, so catching the New Haven defenders a little bit off guard with going with the back row attack and find some space.
Henwood up top to Brown again. Gonzalez will set up Vizcaíno. Gonzalez now sets up the right side, Rivera, and goes too long. New Haven keeping, or rather staying in this match. And really both teams, they're doing a solid job, but again, it's those free points that we're seeing, I guess, as you said earlier, may have, I guess, would the best way be to kind of dictate the early part of this match?
Yeah, unforced errors. It's always usually a key, is how many points are you scoring? It's great, but yeah, again, how many are you giving up? And that's what you really have to be mindful of as an attacker, as a player on the floor. Like, you don't want to force it. Obviously, you need to be aggressive, but you can't be too aggressive. You want to make sure you're keeping the ball in play.
Pomerleau with that kill, and get this, folks. She comes in, Julia Pomerleau, the graduate middle blocker out of Portland, Maine, Joe. She comes in ranked 13th in hitting percentage in all of Division II with a .396, and that kill right there is a big reason why.
Yeah, she's got a big jump, so she can see the ball really, really well. She can see the block and the defense as she's making her approach and her attack, and just seems to find the right spot on the floor. But obviously the termination and the velocity is key.
And you see it right there for the second straight point, where she's able to put her squad up by 5.
And a really good job by Gonzalez here, too, recognizing the hot hitter. You want to go to her again and again. If it's working, obviously you want to keep going. So that's a great job on Gonzalez's part, is continuing to feed her the ball.
Pomerleau leads the way, 4 kills and 6 attacks. It's a team high for Mercy. As Henwood sets up Brown again. Nice dig out that time again by Gonzalez. Up top, another dump, and that time it was Henwood. We saw her do a ton of that in the NE10 title match, and she went toe-to-toe with the Adelphi setter and Brenna Valstead doing those dumps, and it was Henwood that got the better of the home setter. But again, you're seeing that really throughout that entire tournament, and you'll probably be seeing that all day this afternoon.
Yeah, the location of that dump was why it was so successful. A lot of setters will dump short. That one was deep, went deep right down the line. Nobody was home defensively for Mercy.
And look who that is again. It's Julia Pomerleau on the right side. Not only is she listed as a middle blocker, but can play both sides. Right there on the right side, and the first to 20 are the Mavericks.
Yeah, good swing, running that slide attack, and what a great front row for her. She had 3 kills, and seemed like she had a kill when she was in every rotation in that front row, so really good job.
Henwood once more to Johnson. Looked like tried to fool Mercy there. On the outside, that was Schneid. Gonzalez to Rivera. Tried to go into no man's land, but New Haven got back. A bit of a poke out there with the palm, and could not find Carly Vetter.
I got to tell you, Gonzalez, her volleyball IQ is through the roof. I mean, that's just what an impressively smart play on Gonzalez's part to cover that tip, But to see that, again, New Haven's defense, their whole team is basically inside the 10-foot line. Why waste time going 1, 2, 3 and trying to set up? You know what? I'm just going to send it over on one into the deep corner. It's the second time she's done it, and she's been successful both times.
Now taking a peek now at the New Haven Chargers, again, the number 2 seed in this tournament, also a part of the Northeast 10 Conference. And as we brought up early on about Anna Todorovic, let's take a peek at Ana Paula Pago and what she has done throughout her first 2 years. And again, 2018 was her first year. Robin Salters, the legendary New Haven coach, is actually a couple of rows in front of us, hanging out here watching her successor of this New Haven program. And she comes in 38-12, 20-2. We said this early on off camera, Joe. New Haven has made it to the NCAA tournament 36, and that's not a typo, 36 out of 50 years that Division II has been in existence. That is a wild, wild number, and Ana Paula Pago has gotten there twice already, and she's only been the head coach for 2 years. Granted, a couple of years in between, not the coach, but again, twice. It's a wild thing to really imagine.
Yeah, the buzzword everyone uses is culture, and it's just New Haven has a culture of success, and she's carrying on that same tradition, and the players know it. When they come to New Haven, they know what to expect, they know what they're getting into, and they're keeping that tradition alive, that winning tradition that they have at New Haven, and she's doing a great job running this program.
Well, Mercy gets its 3rd straight point. And now they're on a 3-0 scoring run. Henwood upstairs for Johnson, and that was way too much for Marichelle Rodriguez.
Johnson, just a big swing out of the middle again. Another good set by Henwood, connecting with her, going right into Zone 5. That's most of the hitters will attack Zone 5 from the middle, but just too much power right there.
Against Bentley in the NE10 semifinal, Amiha Johnson had a 1,000 hitting percentage, 10 for 10, 10 kills, 10 attacks. And here this afternoon, she's already 3 for 4. But right now, her team is in a little bit of trouble as they have a margin of error of just 1. 23-16, they trail by 7. Largest deficit of the afternoon so far, and make that a 6-point deficit now. 23-17. New Haven gets one right back. And again, we brought that up too, Joe. It's those free points that for a head coach must be absolutely nail-biting.
Yeah, it's really frustrating as a coach to, again, sometimes you have to remind your players, like, recognize the situation here. Like, there's no need to force, a tough serve in this situation because you are only 2 points away from victory. So just get it in and keep the pressure on New Haven.
Juergens went off of the top of the tape and may have ricocheted off of Illis' hair, and New Haven gets another point back. So timeout taken by Todorovic. We'll also take a quick break here on NE10now.tv and the NCAA.com. A few short moments. We'll be right back. (23-18), Mercy in front of New Haven here in the first set, right here on NCAA.com and NE10now.tv, alongside Joe Choinaki, Joey Jarzinka on hand with you from Garden City, Long Island. The East Regional runs through Adelphi University. It's Jesse to serve out of the Mercy timeout. Gonzalez, that time set up Schneid and right along that back row. My goodness, Joe. Talk about a game of millimeters there.
Yep, right on that line, and again, attacking that seam in between the defenders in between Zones 5 and Zone 6. So, that's an adjustment that now New Haven will have to make on their side. Either have their blockers maybe move a little bit differently or maybe have one of the defenders pinch in towards that spot.
Henwood upstairs that time for Reynolds Martin. Gonzalez to Vizcaíno. Gonzalez and tried to avoid the blocking and may have tipped out that time.
Yeah, the ball was actually in. It was on the sideline. So that's good for the point and the set.
Unbelievable stuff. 25-18, Mercy in front. And with that being said, we'll take one more timeout before we get set to go for set number 2. Mercy kind of raising some eyebrows here inside Garden City to start this afternoon in this East Regional. Back in a few short moments here on NCAA.com and NE10now.tv. Set number 2 set to get underway here inside the Center for Recreation and Sport on the campus of NE10's Adelphi University, alongside former St. Peter's women's volleyball head coach Joe Choinaki. Joey Jarzenka back with you alongside our entire production crew led by Brian Stewart and his NE10now.tv crew. Joe, you look at Mercy, they came in as the number 7 seed, but they absolutely raised some eyebrows in set number 1. What adjustments do you expect from either side here in set 2?
Well, one of the things I'm curious to see if New Haven does is that maybe change their rotation, because obviously the mismatch at the net with Gonzalez as a shorter setter, that they want to try to change the rotation to have Brown hit against her instead. So we'll take a look, and it looks like they came out the same way. So they're going to stick with what they're doing, and sometimes that's good too. Again, offensively, both of these teams, it's like, an explosion here. Mercy hit 381 in that set with just one attack error. That's unbelievable. And again, New Haven was not that much worse. They only had 5 attack errors. So both these teams hitting for a really, really high percentage. But that's the one adjustment I was kind of curious to see if New Haven was going to do. But obviously, if you're Mercy right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You come back with the same rotation, same players, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Set to go in set number 2 as Henwood sets up Reynolds Martin. And Pomerleau could not handle that termination by the sophomore middle blocker out of San Jose. New Haven in front first.
Again, going behind the setter that time, even though 2 blockers were there, they were not able to get their hands over fast enough. That's one of the hardest parts about blocking the slide, is because it usually comes in so quick and the hitter is moving laterally, so it's really tough as a blocker to try to get set as to where the ball is going to be.
Pomerleau ricochets off of Johnson, and Pomerleau with her 6th kill of the afternoon ties this one up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, hitting over 700. That's ridiculous in this match already. And again, good job by Gonzalez to continue to feed her, because they're getting good passing.
Up top here, Jesse. Back row attack coming from Juergens. That time, Pomerleau. Block party, little early to celebrate. Battle at the net. Gonzalez, battle at the net again. Back row attack once more. That time, Vizcaíno sent one directly into the net.
Really good rally. Ball so tight to the net in a number of different spots during that rally. Both teams able to stay clean, not net. And unfortunately, the attack error to finish off the rally. But you like to see that sort of level of play. Both teams continuing to battle.
Nice dig out that time by Cruz. Upstairs, Rivera. And the block party is on for New Haven. That's their first block of the afternoon. And it's led by Johnson.
Yeah, good swing, but better block. They were in position. They read the set very well. They were able to get their bodies and their hands set to be in front of the ball and just deliver on a good block for them.
Up top, Mast, Henwood, and now Brown with the dump. And New Haven goes up by 3, their largest lead of the afternoon.
Good scouting that time by New Haven to recognize the tip right behind the block is open. No one there defensively, and sometimes teams will rotate different players to cover that tip, and right there, Mercy had nobody for it.
Gonzalez sets up. That time was Schneid, and Mercy gets its 2nd point of the 2nd set.
Schneid is a really fast arm. It's really tough to try to block her because that arm speed is there, and it's really difficult to try to pick up on it as a blocker to figure out where she's going to go. But that time, just ripping the ball as hard as she can, going right off the hands.
Had a double-double against Malloy in the ECC semifinals, 16 kills and 12 digs. Up top for Brown, that one ricocheted, and New Haven gets its 5th point.
Yeah, Schneid's actually had 3 matches this season where she's gone for over 20 kills, so gets a lot of sets, obviously, because she's a really smart hitter and a good attacker, but she's going to get a workout today probably.
Gonzalez upstairs for Rivera on the right side. And Juergens and Johnson had a little bit of a miscommunication there. And Mercy, again, you look back at some of these errors. Again, you're down by 1 set. Granted, it's not the end of the world. But, Joe, for you as a former head coach, when do things start to get a little bit, let's call it the pressure to increase?
I would say if you're going down 2-0, then yeah. Right now, 1 set, again, it's a long match,
Yeah.
You always have to remind your players, calm down. So this is, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let's take our time, get ourselves back into it. But yeah, if you go down 2-0 and you get in that hole, that's when you start to feel that pressure that you're talking about. So it's always just a reminder to players to just always try to remain calm, especially when you're down. Obviously, again, they're down here. So, but again, look at how well Mercy played, and they just didn't make a lot of mistakes. You're counting on some teams to make mistakes, and right there, Mercy's just not making a lot of mistakes.
And they're also forcing New Haven to get a handle on that one, too, and that gives them point number 4. So sub coming on. It'll be Johnson again, that time for Evelyn K. Gerard.
This is actually a back row sub. They now put the libero back in. Johnson technically is in the back row, but they wanted to sub out, so you can't sub in for just the libero, so she has to do the sub for her corresponding player. The libero's back on.
Player of the year in the ECC, that was Schneid, and Mass the lefty. Too much that time for Samantha Cooney.
It's a really good swing by Mast. I wouldn't mind seeing her get a few more sets. She's been able to connect pretty well so far.
That time, Gonzalez up top, Vizcaíno. And Mercy gets the point.
Yeah, Vizcaíno just crushing it cross court, and no one was able to pick that ball up. It did bounce on the ground, although it did look like it was clean. It hit the ground first and ricocheted up top.
Well, it's funny because you saw Mercy with that delayed celebration, if you will. I don't know if they think they may have thought that one had gone out or was a possible violation. Not the case. They continue on, and there's a service ace. That time from Calderon.
Yeah, that ball was actually out, but it was hit so hard. It's sometimes, you think about it, you have maybe 0.2 of a second to make the decision as to whether or not you're going to play it. And that time, unfortunately for New Haven, Brown just couldn't get out of the way.
So Calderon, that was her 18th ace of the season, and that time was her 17th service error. So you get one, and unfortunately for her, you get one as well.
Right, and that one she took a little bit off, so they had more time to make the decision, and you could clearly see that one was out. And you see the difference. Sometimes that kind of velocity on the ball, could just make a tough decision.
And a service ace now from Grace Juergens, the freshman outside out of Lockport, Illinois, and a timeout taken by Mercy. Well, New Haven in front 9-6 at this timeout, Joe, and you take a peek now at what New Haven has done entering this second set. They look better, but Mercy is still giving them a lot of fight.
Yeah, because, again, they're playing very smart and they're playing very clean. That's really the biggest difference, we're seeing with Mercy is they're just not making a lot of mistakes. And New Haven, again, still playing well. Not that they're doing anything wrong. Just, unfortunately, right now, Mercy's just playing better. And now, but what you're seeing New Haven do is they've made some adjustments defensively. They're getting more touches at the net. They got their first block previously, and that's another thing that starts to make the Mercy hitters think, oh, okay, that block's there now. Maybe I have to go somewhere different. Maybe I have to tip. And that's where you can start to build up some momentum on the New Haven side, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Look at that hitting percentage, too, throughout the match. 373 for Mercy, and New Haven 318. Going back to your point about such a clean match for both of these programs, again, the errors are so far and few between, which is a nice thing, obviously, and we're seeing a nice set of kills, too. 22-19. Mercy +3 in that category.
Yeah, they only had 5. We were talking about, obviously, in the first set, making those mistakes, but technically they only had 5 missed serves between the two teams in the first set alone.
And the defense is really crucial as well. We're seeing that just like what we saw a few moments ago. Up top that time, Vizcaíno. Jesse kept it alive. What a dig that time from the libero.
That was a rocket.
Gonzalez upstairs to Vizcaíno. Look at this, Joe. My goodness. Defense is key. Oh, but Brown sends one into the net.
Tough break on that rally. Gonzalez with a really heads-up play with the dump over from 7-8 feet off the net, and the unfortunate attack error kills the rally, but really, really good defense on both sides.
So Gonzalez set to serve. Henwood sets up the Player of the Year, Brown. Schneid, Gonzalez to Vizcaíno on the outside and through the hands of Macy Brown. Here come the Mavericks. They trail by 1, 9-8. Here in set number 2.
Yeah, Vizcaíno decided, you know what, I'm getting tired of getting dug by Jesse, so I'm going to attack in a completely different space, and goes for a much harder angle, and she was able to find the floor.
Brown went off that time. Looked like on the ground was Schneid and had gone awry, as Vizcaíno could not retrieve it.
Depending on what team you play for, that some people call that area the donut hole, the other people call it the campfire, but that middle spot of the floor as an outside hitter is where you want to tip it or roll it to, just over the hands of the block and just in front of the defense.
Jesse too long, nice awareness that time by Mercy to let that one roll. And now Mercy again within 1. They trail 10-9 against the number 2 seeded New Haven Chargers. Henwood sets up Johnson in the middle. And looks like a net violation for Mercy. And New Haven back within 2, or back in front by 2.
Yeah, that time the good tip and the defense was there, so a tough break for Mercy because they were about to transition on that ball.
The first of 4 matches this afternoon here on Long Island. Gonzalez upstairs to Rivera. Did that tip? No, it did not, and went just long. So timeout now by Mercy. Joe, this is now the second timeout within 21 points. Now, my question to you as a head coach, is that a little too sudden to take both timeouts? What do you see, as opposed to maybe saving one for later on?
Yeah, it's always one of the hard parts about coaching is, and I'm going to really date myself, back before, when we used to play, non-rally scoring to 15, like having 2 timeouts, that was fine. But now it's rally to 25. It's like, you really got to be careful about how you're using your timeout. So, again, 3 to 4 points in separation is typically where you would call a timeout. So using both this early in the set is definitely risky. The other option you have as a coach is to burn subs. If you're not doing a 6-2 where you're constantly going through subs, you can sub people out, sub them back in. So that's another way you can sort of try to kill some momentum on the other side of the floor. But yeah, right now it's usually 3 or 4 points of separation is where you would probably use a timeout. So again, we'll have to see how it plays out for the rest of the set. It could, you never know, but we'll have to see.
The keys to victory for Ana Todorovic and her Mercy University squad. They need to stay disciplined on the court, and they need to serve very tough, quote-unquote. Those were the 2 that Todorovic had given us a couple of days ago, and she sticks by it. Through 21 points, Mercy cannot stop the pace of play. They trail by 3. Little miscommunication once again in the middle. Rivera tried to terminate there. Up top, Juergens. And she's able to get that kill.
Really good swing out of the back row. Looked like she was about 12, 13 feet off the net and just ripped it right down the middle of the court, and nobody there for Mercy.
3rd kill for Grace Juergens, has 3 digs as well. A little slow start for the freshman. And Pomerleau forces New Haven to go the opposite direction.
Henwood was there, but just could not handle the heat of Pomerleau. And we've seen Pomerleau now use both sides of the court. Usually as a middle, you have to pick either hitting your strong side, which is to zone 5, or you cut it back across your body. And she did it right there, and there was no shortage of velocity on that attack.
Juergens, Henwood to Brown. Upstairs for Schneid. Henwood to the lefty mast. And over the fingertips that time of Cruz, and New Haven re-extends its lead to 4.
Good to see Mast back in the front row for New Haven, and Henwood going right to her, and she delivers another kill. She's been getting some good looks at the net.
Opposite direction that time from Schneid. Teammates were able to keep it. Henwood sets up Juergens on the outside. And Gonzalez. That one went awry, and she's not too thrilled with that one. Little individual mistake there, but New Haven back in front by 5 this time.
She's been able to dig that hard-driven ball down the line pretty successfully, so that's why you could clearly see she was frustrated with herself because she was not able to keep that dig in play.
That one goes awry, and another service ace. This time for the Chargers. Yes. And again, this is the issue with those timeouts now that Mercy has taken, because you can't stop this.
Right now it becomes a chess match in terms of trying to get that momentum back on your side.
And Rivera, nice job to attack Henwood, and she could not dig it out.
And New Haven, what they were doing is they were clearly going after Schneid as a passer, because she had struggled with a couple before. She gave up the ace, the previous play. That time they served her short, and she was able to get it up, but it was not a good, accurate pass. So that's where, as a coach, having that timeout would have been great. But it's great to see your players, just right there, work it out for yourselves.
And New Haven just continues to dominate on the defensive side. Did that tip? Oh, it did tip! Ana Paula Pago not too thrilled with that, and you can see the New Haven faithful, they're not too thrilled with that either. But again, the ladder official, Kristen Bosnick, says mercy point.
Yeah, that was a tough one because it was right into that corner, so it was definitely out, but it was a touch at the net. I really didn't get a good look at it, but a good break there for Mercy.
Upstairs, Juergens. And you see, that's the one issue, too, with this building and the friendly confines of the Center for Recreation and Sport. And, of course, you can't see it on our stream, but you've got the basketball nets that are sitting above the court, and you have the hardware and everything around it, the pipes, the beams, all of the above, and it kind of took a Tetris bounce there.
That's exactly what happened. The teammates were easily going to make that play, and then all of a sudden it hits the top of the backboard and changes direction, and they can't react fast enough to it.
And New Haven continues to work. And now they're up by 6, 18-12. What a job once again by the Chargers. And really now it's a full team effort. You're seeing left and right different players getting on the board. And Grace Juergens, back-to-back points. Trying to level this match at 1. Gonzalez upstairs to Schneid. Way too much for Evelyn K. Gerard.
Again, just finding that seam in the defense, going past the block and just to the side of the defenders. Very, very alert swing by Schneid, and obviously a much-needed point for Mercy because they've given up a couple of runs in a row. So any kind of momentum they can bring back on their side is key.
Schneid, 6 kills, 19 attacks, 1 service error, 7 kills. Schneid looking for her 25th service ace. Up top from Henwood, Juergens with the floater. Back row attack, that time Schneid. Henwood to Juergens. And went off that time of Illis Hare. And New Haven with yet another point. Back to a 6-point advantage.
Another athletic play by Henwood. The libero, Jessie, makes that dig and goes down and dug the ball right above her own head. Henwood finds a way to not only set the ball accurately, but doesn't get run over, doesn't run over her libero at the same time.
Vizcaíno fools Jessie just in front of her bench. And slowly but surely, Joe, they're getting points, but it's not consistent. And that's something, again, that Todorovic and company, they have to really figure out with no timeouts. Again, we said it earlier, they cannot stop the pace of play.
Yeah, what they kind of need to do here is they kind of need to exchange 2 to 3 points for every one that they give up if they want to get back into this set. So that's the way they kind of have to think about inching their way back in.
Gonzalez to Vizcaíno on the outside. Tipped off of Brown, goes out of play, and Mercy within 4.
Big swing from Vizcaíno. It seems like she's hitting on the way down as she's attacking, so sometimes that can throw the blockers off, but it doesn't matter because her velocity is so strong.
Vizcaíno with 6 kills this afternoon thus far. She had 13 in the semifinal round in the ECC tournament. And right as Mercy was getting warm, New Haven says, we are warmer.
Yeah, just perfect pass, and go right to the middle when you get that perfect pass, and a easy kill going with the slide attack. Once again, Henwood, good location with the ball.
First to 20 in set number 2 are the Chargers, as Pomerleau fools Juergens on that kill.
It didn't even look like she was ready to hit that ball. It just shows you how athletic she is, because the ball was set to her, and I don't even think she was expecting it, and she just literally just broad jumped. There was almost no approach whatsoever, but she just reaches so high and hits the ball so hard she was able to put it away.
A tall 6-foot Pomerleau. That one went over the hands of Yarianne Gonzalez. Now 21-16.
Yeah, last 2 serves in a row, Mercy have just not really served tough enough. Both those were very easy serves right in the middle of the court, easy passes for New Haven, and that's why they were able to run the middle attack both times.
And things that cannot happen are these errors. And add another service error this time to New Haven's number. And Riley Jessie, for her, that's service error number 3, leads the match. And not a number you want to lead in. Brown on the reception. That was Juergens. Back row attack. Rivera. And goes just long. Inches away. That one looked like it was landing on approach, if you will, but
yeah, she
not
didn't,
quick enough.
It wasn't a direct line. She kind of put a little bit of roll action into it and just missed that corner. And it's especially as a right-handed attacker, when you're playing the right side, those balls coming from your left are very difficult to swing, especially when the ball's set from behind. So you really have to, kind of adjust your body a little bit differently.
Pomerleau cannot get it that time. Was Michelle Henwood along the back row. And Mercy, they are staying in this one, and they are really putting a lot of pressure on this New Haven team. They're not going down easily.
Yeah, Henwood frustrated with herself because the ball was hit right to her. And as a defender, when they hit the ball right to you, you should be able to make those plays. And that's why she clearly was frustrated with herself, because she thought she should have had it.
Juergens, tough reception. Able to get it back, though, was Jessie. And nearly a one-woman show there was Juergens, but had gone along the sideline in front of those bleachers. And now New Haven up by 3. They take a timeout.
The last 4 serve attempts from Mercy, first 2, not that tough. New Haven runs right through them. The last 2, really much tougher serves. You can see the difference. That's what you were talking about, one of the keys to the match. You've got to serve tough. Obviously, you have to serve in, so you're going to take risks. But if you can get the other team out of system, get them to be more predictable offensively, that's going to lead to points. And the last 2 serves from Mercy have been much tougher, and that's why New Haven has been having some problems.
22-19, New Haven in front here in set number 2, and a really good match between the number 2 seeded New Haven Chargers out of the NE10 and the number 7 seed, the Mercy University Mavericks, out of the East Coast Conference, alongside Joe Choinacki, former St. Peter's women's volleyball head coach. I'm Joey Jarzinka. Cannot thank you enough for making us a part of your Thursday afternoon. The first of 4 matches here on Long Island. Obviously, the second match set to come your way next on NCAA.com and NE10now.tv. is the number 3 seeded Bentley University Falcons and the number 6 seeded Southern New Hampshire University Penman. And that should be a ton of fun, Joe. Cannot wait to see what goes on in that one. But this one is really good, too.
Yeah, Mercy just doing a really nice job, not being intimidated by the 7-2 matchup. A lot of people would think, oh, they're the 7 seed. New Haven's going to run right over them. But Mercy's been doing a really good job of staying in contact.
And they also won the first set, too. And that's a service error there on Mercy. So New Haven up 23-19.
That's one of the 7 deadly sins of serving, is you never want to miss coming out of the timeout. So that's a tough break there for Mercy in that situation.
Upstairs this time. That was Illis Hare. Masked the lefty. And went off of Illis Hare and New Haven with 5 set points.
Really smart attack by Mass that time. The ball was set a little bit too low, so she couldn't take a good rip at it, but just very alertly with the whole little roll shot right over the block.
Gonzalez sets up Schneid, ricocheted off of Mast and Mercy. They still trail by 4, but New Haven has set point number 2 here in set 2. Looking to even this one up at 1.
Another good swing from Schneid on the outside, and they continues to pay big points, and time again, you're probably going to go to her almost every time. They need a point, they're going to go to her.
That's Cooney on the service. Henwood sets up Mast. Nice dig out there by Cooney. Schneid and a point to New Haven. Double contact results in New Haven knotting this matchup at 1. We are going a minimum of 4, Joe. It should be a ton of fun, and I am almost certain that some teams in here waiting for the next match might not be that thrilled. But we'll get your thoughts in a few short moments here on NCAA.com and NE10Now.tv. One apiece here from Long Island. Start of set number 3, with New Haven taking set number 2 by a score of 25-20. Alongside former St. Peter's volleyball head coach Joe Choinaki, I'm Joey Jarzinka from inside the Center for Recreation and Sport on the campus of Adelphi University. And Joe, this is not your typical number 2, number 7 match. And here in the NCAA tournament, this East Regional, we've got a real good one to start the tournament as a whole. Yeah,
absolutely. Mercy came out in that first set and just played really smart, clean, aggressive volleyball and took it right to New Haven. And then New Haven countered, playing equally smart and clean volleyball in the second set. Attack errors. Mercy had 1 in the first. New Haven had 5. And then you flip the script almost literally. Mercy had 4 in the second set, and New Haven only had 2. So attack percentage right now is like literally through the roof for this match. New Haven hitting 354 and Mercy hitting 370. Everything else is kind of just mixed in. Only 3 aces between the two teams, only 2 blocks between the two teams. It's a lot of defense, but a lot of hitting.
Off the fingertips, or looked like it may have been, but New Haven did not get that call. Mercy does in fact, and they are up 2-0.
Yeah, there was actually not a lot of defense in that second set. Both teams had 16, 18 digs in the first set, but probably they only had 10 apiece in that second set. So the offenses, both teams' offenses, really clicking right now.
Henwood upstairs to Brown, and that time went off of Illis Hare, and New Haven gets on the board for the first time here in set number 3.
A good swing, just going hard off the hands and getting rewarded as an attacker. And Brown has been very consistent so far for New Haven.
Gonzalez, give and go that time with Schneid. Nice clean dig there by Jesse Juergens. Young up-and-coming freshman for this New Haven squad. Jessie goes the wrong way, and Brown can't get there in time. 3-1, Mercy in front.
As a defender, it's sometimes really difficult to pick up that ricochet. You're expecting the ball to go one way, and then when it hits off the hands, sometimes it's difficult to react. Jessie was there, but just kind of flailed her arm, and it was not really in a good position once the ball was deflected off of the block.
So Cooney on the service. Henwood up top. Juergens. And it looked like it may have hit the upper region that time. Of Vizcaíno could not get there. And New Haven within one.
Yeah, just going straight down the middle of the court. Good swing, good location.
Vizcaíno upstairs to Schneid. The dump. Henwood read it perfectly. Jessie to Juergens. My goodness. The block party on the right side for Mercy. Increases to 2. That time it was led by Illis Hare. That's her second block assist.
And even though Gonzalez didn't get her hand on that because she jumped, she actually gets credit for the block as well.
That's right.
A lot of people mistake that rule all the time. They're like, she didn't touch it. Doesn't matter. If you jumped in the air, you get credit for a block.
Henwood to Mast. Nice dig that time by Schneid. Vizcaíno tried to finish it off. Tough set that time. Henwood, Mast has to get it over. Gonzalez to Illis Hare. Jessie, what a dig. And Brown, back row. Gonzalez upstairs. Vizcaíno, another dump. Jessie. Brown ran all the way from that seam, and it just went in. Yarian Gonzalez, the setter, Joe.
Again, just the court awareness on this kid. Unbelievable. And that was a reverse bump. Like, it looked like it was kind of going out of bounds. And she just funnels it into the corner, completely catching New Haven off guard. You know, you got to be really alert when you see her taking that first ball.
Henwood upstairs. And too much that time for Brown.
Just didn't snap her wrist. The arm swing was there, but you saw the ball flying without any spin. That just means the wrist snap was not there. She'll correct it in the next one. She'll probably beat the bejesus out of it, so watch out.
And way too much on that reception there by Brown. Goes down as a service ace for Schneid. And Ana Paula Pago takes a timeout with her squad trailing by 5. Now, Joe, the big question, adjustments. Where do you go here if you're Ana Paula Pago?
Well, you got to get back to what worked for you in the second set, which was making sure you're taking care of your side of the net as far as serve received. Last couple serves, again, we talked about that before. Mercy serving tough. When Mercy serves tough, gets New Haven out of system, they struggle. But when New Haven stays in system, they're really tough to compete against. And you can see the clear difference because when they're able to use the middle, that's how they're able to be successful. So that's the adjustment that New Haven needs to make, is just pass the ball a little bit better, set the ball up into the middle, and then that frees up the outsides, and you can run your offense however you want. Obviously, Henwood's a really smart, experienced setter. So you know whoever she's going to give the ball to, it can be, can lead to a kill. But that's really just the main focus right now for New Haven. They've got to pass the ball better, and once they do that, everything else kind of runs.
7-2, Mercy in front. And for the first time, Joe, since the beginning of the match, New Haven is finally hitting under 300. They're hitting at a 297. And you brought it up before. It's almost a hitting party here, right? An attacking party where both teams are just getting their kills and they're converting their attacks. And you're seeing Mercy right now, again, they are the 7th seed, but they do not look like that.
Yeah.
And even though New Haven said before, when you and I were off camera, I believe that we will win, Mercy says, okay, we're going to give you a fight.
And that's what you want. That's why these teams are here, to represent, the region and give them the best opportunity and give them the best, volleyball that we want to see.
And And you're seeing it now, especially on the defensive side of things. Look at this. Battle at the net again. Gonzalez. Reynolds Martin. Henwood sets up Juergens on the outside. Up top, Vizcaíno. And that one went awry just in front of the New Haven head coach.
I liked where she was trying to go. She was trying to roll the ball over the defense into that little bit of a corner spot because that's where New Haven didn't have anybody hanging out defensively. So if she makes the correction with the physical part of it, she can be successful there.
Way too much mustard on that attack that time from Schneid. That's actually her first attack error of the afternoon. And 9 kills, 1 attack error, 25 attacks. What a job by her so far.
Yeah, for that many, for that to be her first error is pretty impressive.
Look at that now, the other side, Peyton Mast. And she gets her first service ace and her 34th.
Yeah, getting New Haven right back into this set with, again, just tough serving. And that's really the key for both teams is, you got to serve tough.
Too much off of the hands of Illis Hare. When you look at a lefty, Joe, and perfect timing since Mercy will take a timeout here as their lead has been cut to 1 when it was at 5. When you have a lefty like Peyton Mast, for you as a head coach, how tough is that to get your players really acclimated to that? Because the ball direction is completely different. The direction as a whole is different. Where do you go whenever you see a lefty on your scouting report?
Well, there's enough of them now that, it's not like they're few and far between. It almost seems like every team has one. So, the adjustment is you just got to remember what shoulder you have to line your block up in because everything else is kind of the same, but really the blockers just have to remember, remember she's a lefty. I want to line up on the left shoulder, not the right. That's the biggest adjustment that you need to make from a blocking standpoint. Everything else is kind of the same. Defensively, the ball pretty much comes off the hand pretty much the same way. Serving-wise, it does play a little bit of a trick. So that's one of the things, serving-wise. Again, if they serve a float serve the way she is, it dances a little bit differently. So you just mentally you have to make sure that you're remembering, just when you're identifying the attackers in the front row before your team is serving, that's just a very quick adjustment. Verbally, you need to remind your teams. It's we have so-and-so in the front row. Hey, don't forget so-and-so's, she's a lefty. So
3 straight services for Mast. Her number counterpart could not get past Michelle Henwood, who can do it all. The block party continues this time for New Haven. We'll see if that goes down as a block, since we thought the Amihan Johnson one in the middle had gone down as a block. It did not. Looks like it did finally go in as a block. So, continue on. Macy Brown, Player of the Year for that reason. Juergens, Gonzalez. Lefty that time from Henwood. And that's not her dominant hand.
Yeah, Henwood, she hasn't dumped one since the first set, and she tried to go down that line and just missed it.
Looks like a sub there that time. And serving one directly into the net that time was Annalise Calderon. That's her second service error.
Yeah, especially when your team has momentum, that's got to get those serves in. So you want to take that extra breath, make sure you keep it high and keep it in.
Upstairs, that was a tough one that time for New Haven to handle, and Peyton Mast. And Mercy will head in front by 1.
Good swing that time, just hitting it really hard, going behind the setter. And the New Haven block could not make the adjustment. And another good point for Mercy.
Henwood up top. Juergens. Want to talk about arm speed, Joe? My goodness. Henwood up top. Reynolds Martin. Too much that time for Schneid.
New Haven going into the middle in transition. That's a really, really good thing to see because you're catching the other team off balance because they're playing defense right there, and good swing from Reynolds Martin in the middle.
Tied up at 9 here in set 3. Gonzalez upstairs, Pomerleau. And way too many touches that time for the Mavericks. And we haven't really spoken about Pomerleau since that first set.
Yeah, she had a few, and second set she was kind of taken out a little bit, and now she's back, and that time the New Haven block was right there for her. That's the first time, actually, Gonzalez tried to go over on one, and she wasn't successful. She was covering the ball and tried to send it over on one instead of playing all 3 contacts, and she ended up sending it into the net off that coverage, but that's the first time she's been unsuccessful in trying to send the ball over on the first contact.
Well, now we go back to the chat about the 2 timeouts again being taken by Ana Todorovic. We said in the second set, Joe, that it combined 21 points, or rather on the 22nd point, Todorovic took that second timeout. Now it's 19 points and heading into point number 20 of set number 3. So this is actually quicker than the last set, and you had thought that it might be a little bit tough.
Yeah, and again, every coach is different, so you never want to. I'm obviously not going to criticize her at all, because it's always about momentum in what she's seeing on the court and her
strategy too,
and strategy
right? Yeah.
and her perspective. Like what she, sometimes if she, as a coach, you have a feeling like, you know what, I don't like the way things are going right now. Even though we're fine, we're only down by 1, I feel like I need to call a timeout right now. But it's like she has a much better sense of her team than obviously I would. And that's really what's important is what she thinks and how she's responding to her team and knowing them and trusting them as much as she does. So that's really, really the key for her as a coach. Is like, you know what, I don't like the way things are going right now.
Evelyn K. Gerard gets a service ace and brings New Haven back in front by 2. And for Kay Gerard, that's her first service ace of the afternoon, her first point of the afternoon, and ace number 18. Gonzalez, that time, set up Pomerleau. Up top from Cruz, Rivera. Brown gets it back over. Unbalanced attack. Henwood, Juergens to Brown. Little floater that time, and Mercy cannot handle it.
Really good defense in that rally by New Haven. First, they blocked Pomerleau. They double blocked her on the first attempt. Then good defensive play on the outside attack, and they transition. So New Haven stepping up their game defensively.
Kate Gerard continues. And too long. So Mercy gets a point right back. Kate Gerard comes off, with Reynolds Martin coming back on. Or rather, that sub with Jesse. So Libero back on for New Haven. And Vizcaíno. 3 digs, 6 kills, 21 attacks. This afternoon, Henwood sets up Johnson. Ricochets off of her number counterpart in Schneid. And she'll get yet another kill. That's her 6th.
Schneid and Pomerleau. Pomerleau, the ball was right next to her, and that's one of the hardest things about a blocker is trying to track the ball after you've touched it at the net, because it can go anywhere, and it's always difficult to try to track it. It was right next to her, and she couldn't react fast enough to pick it up.
Up top, Rivera lands out. It looked like she may have lost a handle on that attack. And New Haven back in front by 4. Gonzalez upstairs, Pomerleau, and may have gotten too much on that one, but a tip gives Mercy that point. Looked like it was going awry for a quick moment.
Yeah, she's just hitting that shot a little bit flatter off of the hands. The ball was set a little bit lower for her, but she very smartly goes off the hands and gets the point.
14-11 in favor of New Haven. First to double-digit kills is Pomerleau. She's got 11. Juergens to her number counterpart on the opposite end. Schneid. Juergens, what a dig. She's got to get it over, though, and does. Gonzalez sets up Rivera. Off angle, Jesse, and way too much that time for New Haven. Brown was inches away from the bleacher.
Rivera with a good swing for Mercy, and just a phenomenal attempt by Jesse. Almost got that ball up.
(14-12), New Haven in front. Knotted at one set apiece here in set number 3. Johnson kind of palmed that one over, if you will, or pumped that one over. And Johnson gets kill number 7.
Going into the middle again when they pass the ball well, and Johnson's been, pretty successful throughout the afternoon, so why not keep going to her? And just another good attempt for her on that on the attack.
Gonzalez sets up Illis Hare. Brown into the bleachers again. Mercy not going away, and they trail by 2.
Illis Hare just absolutely detonating on that ball. You saw the entire coaching staff get up on the Mercy side and exhort her on, because maybe she's not used to swinging so much, but that time just absolutely unloading on the ball.
Schneid 1 kill away from a double-double. Up top, Juergens, and pin contact. And gives Mercy point number 14. Now we talk about, again, those timeouts. Maybe she's got a point there with taking both. Slowly having maybe some confidence in her players to, figure it out themselves, if you will. Put them under even more pressure. Johnson, the dump. Gonzalez to Schneid. Henwood to Mast. And a nice job again by Illis Hare. That goes down as a block assist on both for Illis Hare. And it looked like Vizcaino as well.
Actually, I think it was Schneid on that one, yep.
Knotted up at 15. Gonzalez upstairs for Schneid. Jesse to Mast. Nice clean dig there by Vizcaino. Jesse the other way. No one can get there. And Mercy. They're in front 16-15. One timeout remaining for Ana Paula Pago. And what does she do here?
Schneid is just coming to life here in the front row for Mercy, and I think maybe one more. Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this, and now the timeout. Samantha Cooney gets her first service ace. The Mercy faithful have made their way to Long Island, and now they lead by 2 here in set number 3.
Yeah, really good serve that time by Cooney. Low, flat, and just came right across the net. Really, really tough one to pick up. And Mercy now gathering a lot of momentum. Clearly not phased, staying in control. And again, with the service pressure, it's always one of the biggest keys, is getting the opponent out of system. And it's so important when you're playing against a team like New Haven, because their middles are so good. You can't use the middles if you're not passing well. And so that's where you're going to clearly see the difference between the way New Haven plays. When they pass well, they stay in system. They can beat anybody. But obviously when they struggle, like they are right now at times, getting that pass to the net makes their offense more predictable, and it also makes things easier for the opponent. That's what Mercy's doing. They're playing good defense because they know the sets are predictable, because they're having to be out of system so many times.
Looking at this run, Joe, 5-0, and 7 out of the last 8 points have gone in favor of the number 7 seeded Mercy Mavericks. This is unbelievable stuff here that we're seeing as Mercy has come to play. Now, is it unfair to say that New Haven not potentially ready for this Mercy team? What do you think there?
That's a really good question. I don't think so. I mean, these coaches scout, very, very well. They do their homework. They prepare their players as best they can. And that sometimes it just comes down to execution. And that's really what is going on right now. Mercy's just executing. Obviously, New Haven executed really, really well in the second set. And Mercy executed better in the first, and now we're just kind of seeing the momentum kind of go back and forth because both teams are just playing at a high level.
Received there by Schneid, and Illis Hare just in front of the head coach for New Haven, Anna Paula Pago. She watched it go just in front of her, 18-16.
What was so great about that swing is she crossed her body. Instead of going to zone 5, she cut it back to zone 1 and completely threw off the New Haven defense. They were not expecting that at all.
ECC Player of the Year, Schneid on the service to the lefty mast, and goes just long. Looked like for a quick moment it may have just...
Yeah, I thought that ball might have been in.
Yeah, right along that seam or that back row, if you will. Not the case. 3-point edge.
And now New Haven's going to bring a sub in, try to slow some momentum down.
Looks like Carly Vetter, the Moorhead, Minnesota native, will come on for Macy Brown.
They give Brown a rest. She's in the back row. Give her a little bit of a break, and then she's going to be back in the front row.
She's having a tough afternoon, Joe. 185 hitting percentage, 8 kills, 3 attack errors, 27 attacks. And another service ace for Mercy.
That's kind of one of the rules as a coach. Whoever brings you bring a sub in usually, and if they're in the serve-receive pattern, you go right after them. And unfortunately for Vetter, she was not really ready for that one, and then they bring the sub back in, so Brown is back. Again, this is just another sort of stall tactic because you don't want to use a timeout if you don't have to.
Jesse, nice reception. Reynolds Martin able to send that one home along the far sideline.
Another phenomenal set by Henwood. That ball was passed really, really tight. She's able to jump, keep it on her side, and deliver a perfect set and an easy kill.
Sending one directly into the net. This time was Peyton Mast, 21-17. Mercy just 4 points away from securing its second set here in set number 3.
And Calderon now will come in and serve for Mercy, play some back row defense. 3 really good defenders for Mercy with Cooney back there and Calderon.
Henwood up top, Reynolds Martin. And that time it went off of Gonzalez. And New Haven gets a point back. And now they're not going away either. New Haven not going away. They're having a really tough time, though, against this Mavericks team and trying to put them away after securing set number 2. Another floater of a service. Pomerleau ricochets off of Brown. Julia Pomerleau. Kill number 12 and attack number 19. And point number 22 registered into the scoreboard.
And Gonzalez with just another good set, recognizing that Pomerleau's in the front row and want to get her the ball.
Henwood up top for Brown. And probably should not have touched that one was Larissa Schneid, who sits with a double-double, 10 kills, 10 digs.
Yeah, you want to have that one back as a defender because I think that ball was going to go out of bounds. But sometimes, again, it's so hard to make that judgment. You have so little time to make the decision.
Evelyn K. Gerard up top. Gonzalez sets up Vizcaíno off of Johnson, and Juergens cannot dig that one out. Point 23 for the Mavericks.
Vizcaíno, just a really aggressive swing, going hard into the hands. And that's one of the biggest differences is I think we're seeing in both teams. The blocking has not been that consistent. We've probably only had, 3 or 4 blocks between the two teams.
Top Brown off of Vizcaíno, and she wants that one back for sure.
But just a huge swing by Brown. So much velocity with her attack. Goodness gracious.
Nice reception there by Schneid. She gets it right back. Off of Amihan Johnson. And Mercy gets point number 24 and 3. 3 set points coming up for the Mavericks. Got a sub here. Looks like Illis Hare comes back in. Get that offense going, right, Joe? And
yeah, she's been successful in the front row, especially if they get a free ball. I wouldn't mind seeing her get that last set to try to close out this set.
Mercy looking to go up 2-1. Henwood sets up Johnson. Up top for Schneid, and off of Mast. Mercy secures set number 3, and they go in front 2-1 here in the first match of the East Regional. My goodness, the number 7 seeded Mercy Mavericks, 1 set away from advancing in this East Regional.
Yeah, just unbelievable job, staying composed, executing, really playing smart, clean volleyball, but also being aggressive. That's one of the hardest things to try to coach is how do you coach the difference between being aggressive and being passive, but also staying in control. And that's what really Mercy's doing a really, really good job of.
Back in a few short moments as we get set to go for the 4th set. First match of 4 this afternoon right here on NCAA.com and Any10Now.tv. Start of set number 4 here inside the Center for Recreation and Sport on the campus of Adelphi University. Mercy in front of New Haven 2-1. Alongside Joe Trinacki, Joey Jarzink on hand with you. Joe, lots more defense here, or rather in set number 3.
Yeah, both teams, their hitting percentages dropped, and wasn't a ton of errors on either side, but which means there's more defense going on because their defenders are starting to pick up a lot more balls. You've got 2 players on New Haven that have 11 digs each. That's Henwood and Jesse. They're both doing a great job. And then on the other side for Mercy, you've got 2 players with 10 digs apiece. That's Schneid and that's Gonzalez. So defense is now starting to dictate, whereas it was so much offense in the first 2 sets. That third set was really a lot more about the defense.
So it's Yarianne Gonzalez from Mercy set to go here in set number 4. Reynolds Martin, what a job in the air. Look at that movement. And New Haven on the board first here in set number 4. Yeah,
running that slide again. Just that lateral movement, sometimes so tough to pick up, and then swinging right down the line. She's doing really, really well. That's her 10th kill, and she's only had 1 attack error. So if I'm New Haven, I would want to get the ball into the middle for her a lot more.
Up top that time, Pomerleau. Jesse saw it the entire time. And double contact there for New Haven.
Only the 2nd ball handling error called this match. So it's been, again, the level of play. Both teams playing at a high level. Very clean volleyball.
Knotted up at 1. As that reception from Brown goes awry. And this is what we were talking about early on, Joe. We were talking about Macy Brown struggling a little bit. But this New Haven team, they have different weapons that you can go to. So if Brown were to falter, you still have Johnson, Juergens, Mast. The list goes on.
Yeah, and Brown is just struggling in serve receive. Her hitting's fine as usual. She's got 10 kills. She only got 3 attack errors, but this is the hard part about being an outside hitter, is you have to do everything.
Yeah.
And clearly Mercy is doing their scouting, who they want to attack. That's part of your serving strategy is, you may want to go after certain players. You may want to have to go after certain zones. So they feel percentage-wise their best opportunity would be to continue to keep serving against Brown.
Mercy, nice job that time. Again, Larissa Schneid. And for her, that's kill number 13.
Just a big swing from the outside. Again, block wasn't really well formed enough. And just continuing to attack those hands. And Mercy just staying in system whenever they can, but using, the outsides as well.
Jesse upstairs for Juergens on that give and go. Gonzalez to Rivera, tried to go cross court. Tried to poke that one over. was Schneid, but then New Haven tried to go right back and went awry.
Yeah, just a very alert play by Schneid to tip the ball into the block, and then it hit off the block and into the antenna, so it's an automatic point for Mercy. It's a really heads-up play by Schneid.
Henwood upstairs for Brown. Vizcaino. Henwood upstairs for the lefty mast. Oh, that's a tough one to swallow for Illis Hare. That was a really nice jump that time from Schneid on the outside, but her teammate couldn't get there.
Yeah, Mast with a good swing, and the ball hits the block and then bounces right on top of the net, and Illis Hare was right there, but when it hit the net, kind of threw her off a little bit, and the ball falls harmlessly to the floor.
Nice dig out that time by Henwood. Kept that one alive was Mercy, and Juergens falters.
Yeah, Juergens just trying to go over on one and terminate the play quickly, and unfortunately hits it into the net. But what a heads-up play by Henwood. Just once again, her athleticism as a setter is it's just so much fun to watch.
Talk about defense upon defense there for Mercy. They're up by 2. But again, those service errors and those 3 points that we spoke about early in the match comes back right there from Cooney. And now within 1
well,
New Haven.
The ace to error ratio is actually really not that bad, but 4 aces for Mercy, that's only their 6th error, so you'll take that kind of percentage pretty much all day. And New Haven pretty much the same. They've got 4 aces on only 7 errors, so again, both teams serving. I know we keep talking about it, those 3 points, but they're actually serving not as bad as I really thought they were.
Up top that time from Reynolds Martin, and the block party for Mercy rolls on. That was Schneid and Illis Hare.
Yeah, Illis Hare shows really good pressing movements with her hands. She's able to press over the net and get on that ball. And that's a huge momentum killer for New Haven because Reynolds Martin has been pretty much unstoppable in the front row, and that's why finally they were able to get her.
Up top, Henwood to Juergens. Talk about a perfect termination. Grace Juergens, the freshman outside hitter, showing what she's made of.
Just a huge swing going down the line, and then Gonzalez is in the front row, so this is that rotation where, New Haven should probably be setting the ball outside as much as possible.
Henwood, Reynolds Martin, off balance attack. Don't know if she wanted that. And what do we have here, Joe?
It's a center line violation on Gonzalez. She rolled under the net to save that ball, and part of her body went under to the New Haven side. So that's a violation. There's some interpretation of that rule. If you're not interfering with anyone on the other side, it shouldn't be called, but that looked pretty clear to me.
Up top for Juergens, goes cross court. Vizcaino tries to do the same and goes too long. While trying to do so, New Haven in front by 1.
And that ball she didn't snap her wrist, and the ball sort of flailed on her. New Haven doing a nice job staying in control here.
Tough reception that time from Cooney and Schneid, and looked like a potential communication issue that forces Mercy to take its first timeout. A little bit earlier than the last couple of sets.
Yeah, sometimes if you're not attacking a player, you're going to attack seams, and that's what she did right there. She's trying to attack in between 2 passers to get that miscommunication. The other thing is that ball was ripped. Like, if you saw it as it came across the net, there was literally no spin on the ball. So that is a really, really tough float serve, and it was coming over really fast. It's tough to make that communication, as you were saying, that quickly. But sometimes if you're not attacking a person, you're attacking seams. They want to serve in between 2 passers to try to get that miscommunication, and she did perfectly right there.
Number 2 seeded New Haven. Number 7 seeded Mercy University Mavericks. Out of the ECC, as we said, New Haven, they won their 7th NE10 title a couple of weeks ago. And it's been a fun first match here in the NCAA East Regional that runs through Long Island. And next up, is the number 3 seeded Bentley University Falcons and the number 6 seeded Southern New Hampshire University Penman. And that match is supposed to start at 2:30. But at this rate, most likely not. But again, stay with us here on NCAA.com and NE10now.tv for all of the action this afternoon. We will have the action and we will have the call for the entire weekend. Should be a ton of fun. Alongside Joe Choinacki, former St. Peter's University women's volleyball head coach. I'm Joey Jarzinka. Cannot thank you enough for making us a part of your Thursday and hopefully Friday and Saturday as well. Loser of this match and the rest of the way, their seasons come to a close. And New Haven, they don't want their season to come to a close as Reynolds Martin says, let's extend it.
Yeah, big block on the Mercy side and another timeout called. Very, very surprising here.
Is that the theme of this afternoon here for Mercy? When you look at that now, that's back-to-back timeouts in as many points, Joe. Now, I know you had said you didn't want to, you don't want to criticize the coach for maybe strategy or anything along those lines, but you have to look at it and you have to say to yourself is that it's really difficult when you have only 2 timeouts in your back pocket and you've just used 2 in as many points.
Right, and so I'll give you the flip side of the argument. The flip side of the argument is she trusts her team. She doesn't need timeouts. But also, I think she's recognizing how important this spot of the match and the set is. Now they're down by 3. This is critical for them, and I think she may sense that, and that's probably why she called it. But also, I think she puts a lot of faith in her team. Like, you know what? I'm going to burn my timeouts now, and I'm going to trust that the fact that they can take it the rest of the way.
Out of the timeout. That time it's Vizcaino. Jesse cannot secure it. Well, within 2 are the Mavericks. And
good timeout.
There you go, you see? Back-to-back timeouts forces Jesse to get a little off kilter there. And we saw that New Haven when Adelphi had played them on Halloween. Adelphi was attacking Jesse, and the serve-receive, and really the receiving end of it, they forced Jesse to come out of the match and change liberos because that had gone down so tough. We'll see if Mercy can do the same here this afternoon. But, again, that was a consistently tough day for her. But Mercy within 1.
Yeah, and you're going to have those. You're not going to be able to play, high level, perfect every single match. And, sometimes as a coach, it's obviously tough when some of your best players struggle. But, that's why you have, so many players on the bench that you can go to.
Henwood sets up Juergens off of Pomerleau. And Juergens with kill number 10.
Just a big swing again with Gonzalez in the front row. She's just able to go right over the top of her. But again, it's because that arm speed that she has, the momentum that she's able to generate with her body, just really, really tough to try to stop her.
Up top, Pomerleau. Look at the way that arm went all the way back. My goodness. 3 players go after 1 and falls just out of play. Who do you give credit to that one to? It looked like it may have gone off of Schneid's right hand. I don't know. That was tough.
Yeah, the very alert tip on the New Haven side, and Mercy was just not really ready for it.
Yeah. All 3 players came together in a little cluster there. Up top, that time, Gonzalez, Vizcaino, cross court. Jesse was there along the back row. Pomerleau just in front of Peyton Mast. And for Pomerleau, that's kill, lucky number 13.
Yeah, going back to the left side of the court. As middles, you usually pick, I'm either going to hit left or hit right. She hit left and hit it so steeply that the defense could not even get that ball.
Henwood sets up Brown. Pin contact. Mercy gets a point. And now the Mavericks within 1. Both teams have double digits here in set 4. Up top for Brown. Gonzalez, Vizcaino off of Reynolds Martin, and the Mavericks. They are tied at 11 with New Haven and have back-to-back points. for Mercy University. And this ECC squad, Joe, they are a force to be reckoned with. My goodness.
Yeah, great defense. That play, that should have been a double contact, but the ball was just set way too low. The ref let it go, and that's fine. But unfortunately, because it was a mishandling of the ball, the attacker really wasn't ready. It was set too low, and another point for Mercy.
They take a lead here in set number 4. Upstairs for Brown. Gonzalez. Look at Pomerleau. Kill number 14. She is tied up with Larissa Schneid. And Ana Paula Pago takes her first time out of set number 4. And now the question kind of gets tossed back in your direction, Joe. You're down 2-1. You're trailing 2 points. How much pressure is mounting for this Chargers team? Again, coming off of their 7th conference title.
Right, and I think that's what she recognized. It's like, you know what? It's only 2. Again, you think about it, you side out, you get the ball back, you're only down by 1. But recognize the momentum that Mercy has built up in these last few points. Wants to stop it right now. Again, if they get a good pass, they can go right to the middle and they can score, and they're only down by 1. But I think that's one of the reasons why she called a timeout. And I think it's very, very clear. I don't think the pressure's there yet. They're used to pressure. They know what pressure is. They should be. One of the sayings we always kind of had is like, be comfortable being uncomfortable. This way, you're not uncomfortable. Okay, we've been here before. This is fine. We know we've been in these positions before. We can come back from this. It's only 2 points. Forget it. The fact that we're down 2-1. That's not what's at stake here. We just want to win this set, and then everything else after that will take care of itself.
New Haven has taken down 6 of their last 7 opponents, and the last time that they fell, or rather they've given up 2 sets, was against Bridgeport back in the beginning of the month, November 6th, when they fell in 5. So it's been a while since they've been in this situation. They've been rolling 5 straight. Rivera and her number counterpart, Reynolds Martin, continues the block party for New Haven, their 4th of the match.
Great job by New Haven that time, even though they didn't get the kill off the serve receive. The defense was there, the block perfectly formed, and is able to get that ball.
13-12, Mercy in front. Up top this time, Pomerleau. Nice one-handed stop there by Mast. And Pomerleau, oh my goodness. She continues to be this thorn in the side of the Chargers.
Yeah, just playing really, really well. Very active at the net, both offensively and defensively. Doing just a phenomenal job.
That's a solo block for Julia Pomerleau. She can do it all. Brown. And another pin contact for the Chargers. And now things are beginning to look a little bleak for New Haven. And almost right as we said it, Ana Paula Pago takes her final timeout.
Yeah, again, recognizing the situation as a coach. Like, clearly she feels like it's kind of now or never for her and for them. So that's why she's going to call it now, try to stop the momentum. One of the things I had noticed, too, again, just going to go back to Juliana Gonzalez and her volleyball IQ. When they were going on that run of points, she was basically ready to serve, and the second the ref blew the whistle, she was getting the ball in play immediately. Again, something that most players probably wouldn't do. Like, they want to compose themselves, they want to get their serve in, they want to make sure it's accurate. Like, no. Volleyball IQ is get the ball in immediately because you have the momentum, you want to continue to build it. So just, again, what a smart player she is. But now what New Haven needs to do is just, again, compose themselves. I would, again, use their middle. If they get a good pass, or we go right into the middle. Reynolds Martin has been nearly unstoppable, so you want to try to get her the ball in the front row. And again, New Haven's been here before. They know how to be in these situations and to come back from it. And again, volleyball is always about momentum. So right now, Mercy has it. This could turn around in a second, in a minute, if New Haven just finds the right rhythm.
And for sure, New Haven, as they came in here as the NE10 champs, this is a team that you cannot take lightly.
Yeah, Johnson's actually in the front row. So again, and she hasn't made a hitting her the entire day. So why not get the ball into her if you can?
Henwood upstairs to Brown. Off of Pomerleau, kept it alive was Vizcaíno, and Gonzalez does the rest. Henwood, that dump, and falls in. The millimeter game we're playing, it looks like, Joe.
Yeah, Vizcaíno tapping her chest knowing she made a mistake there because she could have played the ball. She was right there, but she let it go, assuming that it was out. But again, Henwood, just the very alert dump at the right time.
Up top, that time, Pomerleau forces Henwood to go in a little somersault formation there, and back to a 3-point edge for Mercy. The Mavericks go.
Pomerleau it seems like she's almost unstoppable in the middle, continuing to find a way to get the ball to the floor, going to the left side again and having success.
Pomerleau having what could be a career afternoon. We'll get to those numbers shortly. Henwood up top. Johnson. That was off the fingertips and works in her favor.
Yep, going right over the block and right in front of Gonzalez. Very alert tip by Johnson that time.
So within 2 are the Chargers. And we said this, if this is the second time or even third time that you're joining us, we said back in the NE10 title match, whoever loses that one will still be in the regional tournament. Not the case here. This is it. The loser goes home for the season. Gonzalez. And look at that. It's Larissa Schneid. That's her 15th kill and point number 17.
Really good exchange that time for Mercy, and they just go right out to Schneid and delivering off the hands again. She's been so consistent this afternoon.
Southern New Hampshire, they're getting warm on the second deck of the CRS. Juergens. Upstairs that time, that was Schneid. Johnson kept it alive, and along the back row, Vizcaíno could not get up in time.
What a phenomenal play by Johnson. I talked about previously, one of the hardest things to do as a blocker is to cover your own ball that you touched, and Johnson, it was right there in her lap, plays it up perfectly, and gets a great exchange and a much-needed point for New Haven.
17-15, Mercy in front. They're 8 points away. Juergens completely off kilter that time were the Mavericks. They were not expecting that one. And Joe, that's a tough one too, especially when you have kind of like in tennis, right? You have that top hitter up front towards the net, and if the ball just comes lobbing and you're really not ready for it.
Yeah, those overpasses sometimes you never really know where the ball's going to go, and just an easy big swing right there.
And again, double contact for New Haven, and they're maintaining this multiple point lead. Again, Robin Salters, legendary New Haven head coach for so many years, in the building, a few rows in front of us, Joe. And her successor and her mentee, Anna Paula Pago, having a real tough time here. Look at this. Illis Hare, a solo block. And for her, that's her first. And the team's second of the afternoon. Mercy in front by 3.
Yeah, unbelievable. Stop Reynolds Martin one-on-one, who Reynolds Martin has been pretty much unstoppable most of the day. So a huge, huge play right there.
Juergens, Henwood, back to Juergens, along the back row. Again, New Haven slowly crawling back, taking their time.
Great swing by Juergens going into that seam in between the line and middle back defenders. Perfect placement and plenty of velocity.
Service ace for New Haven. And that's Peyton Mast.
Yeah, she's come through with her second ace now. She's got a tough serve.
Nice reception that time from Schneid. Vizcaíno. Brown, what a job there. But Henwood could not keep it alive. Illis Hare First to 20 here in set number 4 are the Mavericks. No timeouts remaining on either side.
Ellis Hare again stopping Reynolds Martin one-on-one. Unbelievable play.
And the crazy part about it, too, is that all eyes were on Schneid and Gonzalez. And, Joe, you look at the scouting report, you would think. And Pomerleau and Ellis Hare, I don't know if they were really 100% focused on those two. And Pomerleau.
Right on cue.
My goodness. Julia Pomerleau, again, a career afternoon. 1 kill away from tying her career high at 17. And she's got 28 attacks. That's a new career high.
Yeah, both middles for Mercy just right now taking this match, into their own and just doing a phenomenal job. And that's really been the biggest shift that we've kind of seen. We were expecting to see a lot of outside attacks. It's still there, but it's been the play of the middles for Mercy that has really been the difference maker.
Winner of this match plays the winner of the next match. Bentley and Southern New Hampshire. Up top, Pomerleau, looking to match her career high in kills. That's Cooney. Up top, Vizcaíno. Henwood to Brown. Falls in. And now New Haven at 20.
Really good defense in that rally by New Haven, and Brown struggled her last few swings, but that time just goes deeper into the court and finding plenty of space over there.
Juergens. Upstairs, Gonzalez. Left-handed attack that time from Pomerleau, and she has officially hit kill number 17. That she just tied her career high at 17 kills and 29 attacks. Again, that is a new career high as well.
Unbelievable day for her, and that didn't even look like, she was ready for that one either, but just found that little soft spot in the defense right in the middle of the floor.
Henwood, Reynolds Martin, up top for Rivera. Jesse into the scores table, and another point for Mercy. This team, Joe, 2 points away, and we want to just say a little bit of history here. This is the 33rd meeting all time since 1987. New Haven leads it 25-7. The last win for Mercy, September 30th, 2004, and they are 1 point away from the upset against New Haven.
Rivera just ripping the ball down the line. Jesse was there, but just could not even get a hand on it.
Could it be? Jesse up top for Brown. Too far! And the Mercy Mavericks, the number 7 seed, they upset the number 2 seeded New Haven Chargers here in the first match of the 2023 NCAA East Regional.
Yeah, got to give so much credit to Mercy. They just came out and they were ready to play. Really executed really, really well. And again, New Haven didn't do anything wrong per se. This is a really good New Haven team, but just Mercy just played so much better than they normally do. Did not make a lot of mistakes. Played smart and kept things aggressive. And really just, you have to hats off to Mercy. They did a phenomenal job.